The first one is always the hardest one to do it on the road. We knew it was going to be a tough match, and I was so happy to see us play the way we did. And the first set didn't go our way, and everything on our end, our attitude, our personality, our mood, nothing changed, and we just started over and got it figured out.
Going from the first set with a negative hitting percentage, what was it that you saw that wasn't clicking? Was it the nerves? What was it that turned around then in the rest?
It was Baylor. We were playing good volleyball. The score was ugly, the box score terrible. We hadn't hit a set like that all year, and but every other part of the game looked good. We were blocking them. We were playing good defense. We were getting in system, and we just weren't putting the ball down. And that's so atypical of this team, because this is a really low error team, and we don't get blocked very much, and we don't hit the ball out of bounds very much. And so we had 11 hitting errors in the first set, and we had 8 more the rest of the match. And that's more like what we're used to. So it was really just about sticking with the game plan, and for the hitters just to keep working towards finding the right angle and just keep plugging away. They're long and athletic, and we knew that. And at some point they had to figure out where to score. And then once we did that, we were in good shape.
It's easy to go in and play a team that's ranked and you have all that adrenaline, but how do you maintain that? What's the conversation like over practice when you don't have maybe as an exciting of a match?
Yeah. It's still the Big 12, and it's still, another match that we need if we want to achieve some bigger goals down the road. And it's, it's a team that we have gone back and forth with a lot in the last couple of years, and so forget all that. This is a Big 12 opponent we've got tomorrow, and we've got to be ready for it.
Have you seen the gap kind of close in the Big 12 between the top teams and maybe the former bottom tier teams?
Hopefully, talking as one of the bottom teams that is trying to make the come up, we feel like we're more competitive for sure. We feel like, as we start breaking teams down and deciding on game plans and how we want to match up, we feel a lot better about our talent and where we're at. And Wednesday was a great example because Baylor athletically is next level, and the things that they do with their athletes is crazy. And so for us to be able to get in there, and you saw it throughout the match, our block was right there. We were slowing them down, and they have an All-American hitter on the outside, and you saw what Brooke was able to do against her and score points. And so those are all signs that we're really taking this in the right direction.
Going back to what you had just said about Brooke being able to go up against an All-American talent, what does that show you about the type of player and the ceiling that she has just being so young?
Well, we knew that she could play, and we knew coming in she was going to be one of our biggest jumpers, and she's got a great arm. We liked her because she's trained at all 3 front row positions, so her versatility is really good. And even throughout the preseason, you've seen her on the left side and the right side, and we have another right side, Andrea Jans, who's been playing a lot too. And so as we got into this matchup with Baylor, we looked at Brooke versus Andrea, and we're just trying to see what we thought the best matchup was. And for that match, we just felt like Brooke was the better matchup, being right-handed, and that's what we went with. But we knew coming in that she could play, and this was just a matter of time for her, and so that was really fun to watch.
She seems like she's somebody who kind of sees the court really well, and she makes really good decisions, and she puts the ball in place where it needs to be. How would you describe sort of her IQ and what that does for her game and the difference that it makes for her?
Yeah, Brooke is, she's a quiet girl, but she's got great personality. That there's things click in there, and she's been playing this game for a long time, and she's done it at a high level and played for a great club back in high school. So she's been up against great competition all along, and so this is just the next step. But there's no gap there in terms of what she needs to know about learning the game, and she's very coachable. And so we were throwing stuff at her all night on Wednesday just to make adjustments, and she just was right there immediately.
Coach, you mentioned how in that first set it just didn't really look like your team. And after that, it wasn't even really as much a back-and-forth match. Your team kind of dominated. Was that something you expected to see, that once you got rolling, it wasn't just that you were competing with a really good team, you were actually out-competing and really dominating them the rest of the way?
In the moment, you don't see it that way. As I've watched it on film, I look back and thought, man, we really did play good volleyball, and that was a great statement win. But in the match itself, during the moment, we were just playing with them, and there's a lot of long rallies that most of them went our way. We ended points the way we wanted to. We were very feisty defensively and kept balls off the ground, and that part was just fun. I think we were just more enjoying what we were doing as opposed to seeing what we were doing, and so that was really cool. But I think we just got ourselves locked into a little bubble where we were just going to stay in that moment as long as we could.
The attitude and everything around this team today, is it different than what you saw before Baylor, or was that just a chance for them to show what you already knew about this team?
Yeah, I think today we'll see a little bit more of that. Yesterday we were pretty wiped out. We had an early trip back from Waco on Thursday morning, and we were pretty much all sleepwalking throughout the day yesterday. So I'm looking forward to seeing what our energy is like today and how focused we are about West Virginia.
What threat does West Virginia pose for your team?
Yeah, they're long. They've got some really nice athletes. They block very well, really well coached, and they took a great step forward as a program last year as well. So I feel like us and them have been on a similar arc, and so they're a hungry team and prideful group, and I know they're going to come in and battle. So for us, it's about just executing our game plan and being able to get our offense balanced, just like always. And we rely a lot on our serve and block, so we got to get those two things as well.
Coach, from an overall perspective, how satisfying was this victory for you? Because I know you've seen this potential. Last year you talked about finishing, and it seemed like it wasn't necessarily finishing, but they kind of turned on that switch that you've been talking about.
Yeah, I think, as a coach, when you come in and you have a big challenge like we did with this rebuild, you have certain messages that you have to rely on, and it's the right thing, and it's just a matter of when it kicks in. And so we've been beating this drum about, process and fight and just plugging away and culture and all these things for going on 3 years now, and at some point you got to get a result to back it up and to let the players know that this really is the right thing. And so that's a validation win as much as anything, and it lets the players know that all this time they've put into trying to go about doing it a certain way, it's paying off, and it just lets them know that they've been doing it the right way and they can just keep going from here.
I guess with Chandler and kind of Missy and some of the others that have kind of been here for several years compared to maybe some of the freshmen that are kind of just seeing the success, how important is it for the veterans to kind of see the success, and then not only that, but then the younger girls to realize, hey, this is something that we can start?
Yeah, the older players, they've been committed to the rebuild. When you're an incoming girl, you don't come in wanting to go through it. There's some things that have to do. You want to be the girl that gets you over the hump, or you want to be a part of some real success. But when you're here, like Chandler was, like Kylie was, like Maggie was, like Katie Keenan was, this is where you're at and where you're going to be, and this is your situation. And so if you want to change it, you got real work to do. And so I just give them so much credit because they have been through both sides of this, and it's nice to see them come out on the good end and know that they're really having an impact on our program.
I know it's a long season and everything, and you always are looking to the next match and everything, but you did beat the 19th ranked team in the country. Do you let yourself enjoy that, or how do you take that as the coach?
Yeah, you just take a breath and you say thank you, and you're blessed, and you know that the things that you've been doing are paying off as well. And again, it just it's not that you question what you're doing or you doubt yourself, but it's the same thing. You want it to pay off as well, and know for certain that you've been doing it the right way. So, as a staff, we really enjoyed that victory, and now we just go on to the next one. We want more of it.
Back now.
Yeah, absolutely. This win against Baylor, I feel like it's the start of a brand new era in Texas Tech volleyball.
How did this kind of transpire? I know that first set you guys kind of struggled a little bit, but then you kind of turned it on in that second. What did y'all change, and what really kind of helped y'all kind of get that victory?
I think the first set we were just kind of, doing. I feel like we kind of fell back into our normal habits. And in that second set, we just kind of woke up and we stood up and punched back and got the win.
I know before the season y'all talked about having to do some things that maybe you've never done before because you're trying to do kind of the things that haven't been done before, like get a ranked win. What did y'all have to do that against Baylor? Because like you said, you kind of reverted back to what you all had done before. What did you have to do to kind of get over that hump and get that victory?
Honestly, I'm not really sure what we did specifically, in order to have like all of us actually play like as a team. I think that we just all came together and like decided like, hey, like we need to get this done, and we did it.
Can you just speak to the defense and just how spread out it was? It wasn't necessarily one person digging up balls. You had multiple girls. I guess just how much did that help y'all, just knowing that you were kind of frustrating Baylor a little bit because you were keeping the ball in play?
I mean, defense wins games, in my opinion. If you have a team that has a great defense like us, I mean, the other team can't score, which gives us opportunities to score. So I think, Emerson, Katie Northcutt, Emily Hill, even like our blocks in the front row, like I think everyone did a tremendous job, keeping the ball off the ground so we could score.
I know everyone's going to look at the kills. I guess how important was Brooke's performance, just being a freshman and just being kind of stepping up for y'all?
It was the best thing to see a freshman, a true freshman, go out there and really kill it like she did. I mean, 17 kills in her first Big 12 game, that is insane. And like, her block was amazing. She owned both outsides out there, so it was really fun to see her grow, especially since just only being here for a few months.
Now, I know you all see her during practice. Did y'all kind of suspect something was coming up with her, or was it just a deal where sometimes the lights kind of shine and then people kind of just step up in those situations?
I mean, Brooke she's a very skilled player, but I've never seen her go off quite how she did playing against Baylor. It was really, really fun to watch.
You had talked about earlier how you feel like this is kind of the new era of Texas Tech volleyball. How proud are you and happy for Coach Grayson? I know this has been kind of a long time coming for him and for this program.
I mean, I'm ecstatic. I mean, because, you know, when he got here, I got here. So it was just like seeing the progress and being a part of the progress of a team, you know, starting from the ground and building up. It's a great feeling. Like, I'm very proud of how much we've done.
Not only just with Brooke, but just with all of these newcomers, how pleased are you with just the way that you've seen them and their competitive edge coming in and kind of having, I mean, ice in their veins against, like you said, a ranked opponent in their first Big 12 game?
I mean, I'm proud of them. I mean, I remember being a freshman, you know, being thrown in and playing in Big 12 games like that. And for our freshmen to just step up and, you know, just do what they need to do and get it done, it's great feeling.
We kind of saw how the celebration was on the court after y'all won, but what was it like in the locker room and on the way back?
Oh man, we lost our minds. We screamed and screamed and screamed and danced and jumped around. I mean, it was electrifying, really. Like, just the energy and just the mood and the happiness in there was electrifying. That's really the only word that I can use to describe it.
How long will you guys allow yourself to enjoy and relish that win before you have kind of turned your attention onto just what's coming up next?
Oh, I mean, we did that yesterday. You know, we had practice and we were already watching film and preparing. So I think that we can't exactly, I'm not saying that we need to forget about this win, but I am saying that we need to move on and build on it so we can have more success.
And turning your attention obviously to this weekend, and you're going to be here at home, what difference does that make, and how much more excited are you guys just to be able to have your next conference games here at home?
I mean, it's always a lot better, I feel like, when we play at home. We have our fans here, friends and family here, like all that support versus being on the road. So I think that this next home game is going to definitely be what we need to kind of, you know, propel us forward.
It was just super fun, just like getting to be in that atmosphere. It's like so much more intense than I've ever like been in before, and just like playing with everyone and like having such a good time is really good.
Talk about what you thought your role was going to be on the team when you came in and how you've kind of seen it progress since being here and now going into conference play.
Really, I just wanted to play, like whatever I needed to do, like work hard and like help the team out and just really be whatever role I needed to do to help the team and like what we needed as a whole.
You had talked about how that was the most intense level of play that you have seen so far. How do you feel like you sort of thrive in that type of environment and under that type of pressure?
I don't know. I think just like excitement and like, I mean, building off of like everyone else's like great play, like that makes you want to play better. And like the defense, like getting really good ups, you're like, well, I need to do my job now. So it's like, I don't know. I think everything just builds on each other and it like gets you going.
Chandler had kind of talked about what the celebration was like after that win. Can you just describe for us, you know, what you kind of saw in the locker room and as you guys came home?
Yeah, like we were just dancing and having fun. Like it was the most like exciting thing ever. I think we just like all were so excited about how we did together because we really wanted that and we worked really hard. So I think it was just like knowing we did it.
It's one thing in like the off season, heading into the year, to really believe in the team, believe in yourself and thing, but really to see it on the court against that type of opponent, what does that really do for the overall belief level of this team and what they can accomplish?
I think it gives us confidence, just like believing in ourselves and like knowing we can do that and we can like build on that and like even do so much more together. So.
Believing in each other, what was the conversation like in the huddle between the first set and the second set when it really turned around?
I think we just like realized what we needed to do after. I think we were just figuring everything out in the first set and just like knowing like as we went on, like things were gonna start going our way and as we played together. So.
Brooke, I know you said you were kind of nervous kind of going into that. I guess, was there any point in that match where you kind of felt things slow down and you kind of didn't feel as nervous? And I guess what was that point for you?
I think it was just, I don't know, like getting everything out after the first set, just like first Big 12, like, I don't know, just like getting it done. And then everyone else's play like really builds you up. So it just, it gives you confidence, like when other people are confident, so.
No, Coach Greystone talked about the work you put in the offseason. Did you kind of feel like this game was coming for you, but did you know it was coming in that first Big 12 game for you?
No, I think we just all have been working really hard and like knew we could do it. We just needed to do it together and push each other. So I think that's like in the off season, we just worked really hard from the beginning so we could get to this.
I know everyone will kind of look at your numbers just because you led the team, but what was it like to know that you had other options as well that kind of maybe necessarily didn't allow Baylor to kind of double team you when you were going for kills?
Well, first, like the defense, like that set us up for really good like offensive plays, and like Chandler and Emily like opening things up for everyone else, and like the middles that spread out the balls more so we can have options to score.
So what's your favorite part about volleyball, or why do you play volleyball?
Just the excitement and the intensity and like competitiveness and playing together and like playing for someone else. So you can just like, it's not like all on yourself, so you can like, I don't know, build on each other.